everybody, welcome back to some more Warlock reveals. You may be seeing where's his face camera. My mug was so handsome, it has broken the camera, right? That's the way this works. So apologies, my camera's not working. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'll try and sort it out. Anyway, we've got reveals to get through. Up today was Warlock, and we were already shown one meme card. And that was Wheel of Death. 8 mana, shadow spell, destroy your deck. In 5 turns, destroy the enemy hero. So this gave me a pretty good idea that, you know, there's going to be some sort of handlock, probably, some controller deck, because you need to build up you have to build up resources, right, to live through these 5 turns. Bearing in mind you're going to be taking fatigue damage. Bearing in mind you're only going to have 10 cards to play. 9, if you include the Wheel of Death, will have been played as one of those cards. So, let's see what we got. The first thing we're going to look at is the other legendary, because it's going to be important in the long term. Game Master Nemzi, 5 mana 3/6. Battle Cry, draw a demon, death rattle, swap places with it. I love the art in this card, and the theme for Warlock, by the way, in case you're not aware as we go through this, is like a D&D campaign type thing. It's like a role-playing campaign. So a lot of the cards are nods to the beloved game that is D&D. But anyway, I love Nemzi's smug little mug over like the Game Master screen. It's so cool. Sadly, that's all I like about it. This card kind of stinks, to be honest with you. Obviously, for 5 mana 3/6 with a slow effect on it, sure, you get to draw the demon, but it's on a death rattle, right? So it's going to take a turn for this to come through. You want to get a big demon out, right? Well, Doomguard is 5 mana, and that is going into the core set, but surely there's bigger. Moab Drillfist, 4 mana, 4/5 demon? You're pulling my chain, Underlorder. There's a bigger demon. Okay, there is. Enhanced Dreadlord is the biggest demon reasonably available to Game Master Nemzi right now. It's an 8 mana 5/7 taunt, which has a death rattle on it as well that summons another minion, a 5/5 with lifesteal. Now, you may be pointing out to me that there is a very important demon, a very good demon, called Sargarius. But obviously, you do not want to pull Sargarius with Game Master Nemzi, as you need the battle cry of Sargarius to open up a portal, otherwise the Titan is worthless. It is 9 mana 6/12, I can't attack, until I push a button on it 3 times. It's a really bad pull, so... theme incoming. A lot of the cards for Warlock have huge anti-synergy with Sargarius, which is a real problem because Sargarius is kind of cracked. Also, really interesting timing on this seemingly big demon synergy. These are the cards rotating out of Warlock. Mal'Ganis, pretty big demon. Abyssal Enforcer, pretty big demon. Okay, Lakari Fellhound, not particularly the big demon you're looking for, nor is Imp Gang Boss. Voidcall, though, has big demon synergy as well. Why have you rotated the big demon synergy out and then bring in big demon synergy? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I think it's more setting up for maybe something down the line. Where is Voidlord? I tweeted out last night going like, here's my prediction for the other legendary. It's going to be Droidlord, and it's going to be a mech demon and, you know, bells and whistles and stuff. Nemzi's fine and all that, but it's a little bit weak, I think. I am yanking your chain a little bit, though. There are some other demons that have been revealed. How about this one? Wretched Queen. 8 mana 4/4 demon taunt. Death rattle, summon 2 4/6 knights with taunt. Well there, ladies and gentlemen, this is your new Voidlord. It is a Wretched Queen instead. So I don't completely know how to feel on this. Voidlord was 9 mana for effectively... I know it's not quite the way this should pan out, but you can kind of see it as 6/18 in stats. This is 8 mana, and you're getting... I think it works out as 12... Wait, quick maths. 12/16? Yeah, I am right. 12/16. So, in theory, overall, Wretched Queen is actually... It stands up really well to Voidlord. My only small criticism of it, compared to Voidlord, is obviously Voidlord is statted in the way you want it to be. You wanted these big wall minions to protect your face, and especially if you're using this for Wheel of Death, you would really like this to be stacked more towards health than attack, because the wheel's meant to kill, right? You don't need Wretched Queen to get the kill if your big demon deck is going to be Yeah, it's going to be the win con for this wheel deck, right? So it's pretty good. I do like it. I think stat-wise it's fine, but pool of big demons ain't particularly big for the support they're going to get. By the way, there is another demon they have announced. It is this guy, Malefic Rook. 3 mana 5/6 demon. Battlecry, attack your hero. Okay, so this isn't exactly a big demon, right? It's a 3 mana demon. And indeed, I don't think you will use it in your big demon deck, so to speak. Mainly because I don't think there's enough support for the big demon deck. Where I can see this seeing some play is more in a zoo archetype. Similar to, like, you play your Flame Imp on 1, and it's fine to take 3 damage because the Flame Imp is pretty awkward to deal with. At turn 3, playing a 5/6 minion, even though it hits you in the face for 5 damage, that's really, really hard to remove. And we do have, like, some sort of precedence in this, in the fact that Blood Treant saw play in Treant Token Druid, and that is effectively deal 5 damage to yourself, get a 2/2 at the end of it. Obviously, 0 mana 2/2 versus 3 mana 5/6 deals 5 damage to yourself on both cards. And also there's a Treant synergy, so it's like toss it up into the air about all of that. But I think this is a pretty solid card in Zoo. Obviously the intention of this card was to, you'd play it one time, it would get like destroyed, or you would cheat it out sometime, and you don't attack your hero, but I think you will play this in Zoo, and I think you will just accept the battle cry. Like, Zoo doesn't give a shit about their health, right? You win the game in the first 5 or 6 turns, and if you don't, then you lose. It's that simple. And currently the picture I'm kind of painting is, I think Flame Imp is still in the rotation. You're playing like your Flame Imp, I don't really know what we'd put out on 2, into Malefic Rook, into Waste Remover, and you don't even put all these slimes at the bottom of your deck. Or maybe you do put your slimes at the bottom of the deck. That is disgusting. Truly, truly disgusting. And again, there are some decks that just simply will not be able to deal with this. Now, obviously, you're going to be down 8 health and 3 cards. But again, Zoo will just laugh at that, I think. So, we'll see. I also should have included this. Waste Remover is a fairly big demon. But again, you're cheating out 4 mana, and Waste Remover still has this big negative effect on top of it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not seeing the big demon picture. As a side note as well towards this more Zoo-type demon Warlock deck, 4 mana 4/3 Miniaturize, Tabletop Role Player, Battlecry, give a friendly demon +2 attack this turn, and immune this turn. Obviously, you then get the mini, which is a 1 mana 1/1 variant of this. The base card itself, the 4 mana 4/3, is pretty awful, so I'm not convinced we're seeing this in the control deck. I'm also not convinced you see this in the Zoo deck. It's an understated 4-drop at the very least. It has a conditional give 2 attack to a minion, which brings it back into the line of like a normal 4-drop, and it does require you to have a demon on the field. And typically if you're going to play some sort of aggro deck, you don't really care about immune. You're probably not trading your minions, right? They trade you. You trade into their face instead. So when I was going through the databanks of cards and seeing like, is there anything like this out there? And immediately my eyes got drawn to this card called Lance Carrier, and it's like, I don't remember this card at all, but honestly, this is Lance Carrier 2024. Maybe this will end up being the best card ever made, but I'm pretty certain this will see 0 play. Similarly, Curse Campaign, 3 mana shadow spell. Give a friendly minion Death Rattle. Summon 2 copies of this minion that are dormant for 2 turns. Boy, this card's bad, right? This really stinks. First things first, I thought this kind of reminded me of Emergency Maneuvers, which was a secret in Hunter. That when one of your minions died, you got a copy of it and it went dormant for 1 turn. It also reminded me that when Rexar was in the game, not Rexar. His name has escaped me now, but the hero card that gave you improved secrets, that gave you 2 dormant minions for 1 turn. And even then, that wasn't particularly good. Curse Campaign costs 1 mana more, and they're dormant for 2 more turns. Now, I see the big picture of this, right? Clearly, you're meant to put this on your big taunt demons. And the intention is that on the next turn, you play your Wheel of Death. And then a turn later, these big chunky guys come to protect your face. No, too slow. Way too slow. And also, you can't just do this anymore. Because Reno exists. If this ever got, like, remotely viable, people would just Reno you as soon as you did this, and you would lose the game. Because you've set up this huge, long, convoluted chain of manual expenditure and cards, and they would just get rid of it. It's honestly very similar to Slagmore. That's kind of how I'm seeing this. This is not neutral. This is non-legendary Slagmore. What I don't quite think is as bad, though, is Endgame. 2-mana Shadow Spell, resurrect the last demon that died. Now, unlike all of the other cards, which have been, you know, to do with demons... and by the way, sorry, I should have mentioned this before I get into this. Curse Campaign has another issue that it's 3 mana, so you are kind of hamstrung into playing a minion for 7, and the queen is 8. So you'd either have to run a coin generator in your deck, or you'd have to run what's his name? Oh my god, I'm so bad with names. But the neutral bot that generates 11 mana for you in 11 hand space. And I think you would probably be running that in the wheel deck anyway, so it's not a big deal, but Endgame would let you set this up so much easier. You'd resurrect your big demon, your 8 mana demon, and then you just curse campaign it on that turn. But again, you're just always waiting for that one next turn, and you're eventually not going to get that one next turn because your opponent will kill you. But yeah, as I was mentioning, unlike some of the other cards where they've been pretty bad shooters for Sargarius, this one's not the absolute worst thing, and I could actually see a world where this is played in this Control Warlock deck, kind of like the Control Warlock deck we see now. And when your Sargarius dies, maybe you try and endgame your Sargarius back, because obviously if you've played it the first time, then you'll get a portal already. So if you resurrect it back, you can use the portal and maybe get even bigger imps. More realistically, though, when Sargarius dies, normally some imps die with him, and you're going to endgame imp, so... I think this card is going to be too slow, but I can see a world where instead of playing it in this wheel deck, it does go into a Control Warlock deck, and ends up being pretty good, because, you know, 2 mana to resurrect any demon. And I say any demon. The last demon that died, but it can be at any mana cost. That's actually pretty frightening. If you run very limited pool of demons, and they're very, 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 very good demons, then Endgame will see play in that deck. Okay, back to Sargarius haters. It's Crane Game, 9 mana spell, summon copies of 2 demons in your deck. Obviously Sargarius, really bad, because you don't get the battle cry. And the 2 cards you're looking for is the ones I've mentioned. These are the 2 big demons right now or will be the big 2 demons in Standard. Enhanced Dreadlord and Wretched Queen. Cool. I mean, it's pretty annoying to deal with, right? They both have taunt. The Wretched Queen kicks out 2 big taunt minions as well. Dreadlord kicks out another 5/5, but he doesn't have taunt. Yeah, it's really going to be frustrating to play against certain decks. But again, I think this deck will lose before they ever play Crane Game. It's just that simple. And again, I think part of the point of Crane Game was to... Oh, sorry. A part of the point of this entire deck was to play these demons that have negative battle cries. You don't really want to be pulling them out, right? You really want these 2 guys. Almost everything else is just then not sticky enough to warrant Crane Gaming it, so... Again, I'm not 100% convinced if it's worth the squeeze. And when you say again, like, this is a good combo. It is a good combo. Don't get me wrong, this is a good combo. I like it. Do I like it more than Sargarius? Waves my hands in the air. It's like, I'm not convinced, and I don't think you can run Crane Game and Sargarius realistically in the same deck, so... yeah, unlucky. Alright, back to Handlock deck. Table Flip, 10 mana Shadow Spell, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions, cost 1 less for each other card in your hand. This is Entitled Customer, Mark 2. It's kind of back, but not as good. Well, actually debatably kind of good. So this was your classic hand Warlock card in the past. You generate these big hands so your Entitled Customer could just clear almost anything. It did cost you 6 mana for the pleasure of doing so, but on top of that you got a 3/2 back. So it was like, you spend 2 mana on the 3/2 at the very least, you get 4 mana to do this big AoE clear. Pretty good, right? Obviously, Table Flip, if you just fill your hand with cards, can get down to like 0 mana, deal 3 to all enemy minions. That's pretty good, right? That's approaching like what a Prismatic Beam would do in Paladin. And a Prismatic Beam sees play in Paladin. However, couple of things. Firstly, Warlock is not Paladin. Warlock has a lot of good big AoE control options. That being said, they are losing Gigafin because he is rotating out, but they sort of twisting at 8. And I was started thinking, it's like, would I run Table Flip in my deck over twisting? And I came to the conclusion that I probably wouldn't, and that I would probably run them in the same deck. But what is the other payoff for running Hand Warlock? Well, the only other payoff right now is Twilight Drake, which was played back in the OG Handlock deck, so it's 2024 now though, so I don't know if it's going to be good enough to play a Twilight Drake in your deck. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced by this Hand Warlock deck. I'm not convinced by the support of it. I think bits and pieces will be amalgamated to control Warlock. Unfortunately, Control Warlock is not doing particularly great right now. So yeah, I think it's just going to be Sludge Warlock going forward. Sludge and Zoo Warlock, I think, will be your two best decks coming out of this. Oops, I nearly forgot a card. I'm making a separate recording for Sketch Artist. 3 mana 3/3. No offense, Sketch Artist. I actually think you might see play as well. But you're a little bit out there compared to the other cards. Battlecry, draw a shadow spell, get a temporary copy of it. It's Tamsin, but worse. However, Tamsin Rome was kind of insane. It was also legendary, so there's no surprise it's slightly weaker. Obviously, this depends on the pool of the shadow spells out there. There are a lot of Warlock shadow spells. But where I think it might see play again is in this like aggro-orientated Warlock deck. You play that card down, you draw a monstrous form, you get a temporary monstrous form, and you suddenly give one of your minions, assuming you had 5 mana to begin with, you give one of your minions 6/6 and you just ram it into someone's face. That's pretty brutal, honestly. Again, there's an obvious other choices like Drain Soul, Defile, Siphon Soul, Endgame. You do have to bear in mind this temporary spell, though. You want to be playing it on that turn, so it can't be something super niche, something you would want for a very specific moment. It has to be a spell that you're fairly willing just to vomit out onto that turn. Also, the minion itself costs 3, so something like Twisting Nether, you wouldn't be able to play what was it called? The temporary copy of the shadow spell, as you wouldn't have the mana cost, unless you were already running, is it Audio Amplifier, is that what it's called? So, I think this will be, I think I can see it in Zoo. It might not be Zooey enough for Zoo, though. Maybe it goes into the Control Warlock deck, but I'm not convinced it gets into the Control Warlock deck either. Maybe it's just a tutor for Wheel of Death, though. Maybe you run no shadow spells in your Wheel of Death deck and you just play the card. I'm not convinced. Anyway, that, I think, is actually it for the Warlock reveals this time. I don't remember who's coming up tomorrow. I should have checked. I know in 2 days it's Priest, because I'm really, really worried that it's going to be Resurrect Priest. Please don't be Resurrect Priest. That's all I ask for. That's all I want. As a belated birthday present, please don't bring back Resurrect Priest, sorry. Is the words I should not speak. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!